hated that
I can't
movie.
hear very well at all.
You never can.
Yeah.
No, it's worse than it's ever been.
Oh, okay. I was like, you sound normal to me.
Do you want me to try to reach it?
Hello.
Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear?
Hello.
Hello? Hello?
Can I have your washboard abs?
I don't have any. It's a bra. It's tucking them in there.
No, I don't believe it.
Gotta tuck those abs in.
Yep.
Are you ready?
No.
Mm-mm.
Too bad. Welcome to Book Thoughts. We are thoughts for books, and these are our thoughts on books. For today's episode, we are doing a one-episode review of Reckless, Book 2 of the Powerless Trilogy by Lauren Roberts.
Before we jump in, we do have a content warning. Today's podcast is rated mature. We are book thoughts after all, so we are going to be using adult language talking about adult topics, so please pay attention to who may be listening near you. I think it goes without saying, but this episode will also contain spoilers for Powerless, Powerful, and Reckless. Lastly, I'm just going to apologize ahead of time. Maybe we, will at least mispronounce a name or place. Jenna will be leading this episode, so let's jump into that strip down.
Don't need a recap? Feel free to skip straight ahead to the discussion. Emily does something where you can just like go down and click where
Where to skip ahead?
timestamps.
Yes,
That's what they're called.
Yeah.
Timestamps.
on
Yeah.
YouTube, only on YouTube though.
Okay.
If you're on a podcast platform, then it will just be in the summary.
I'm gonna start off with the dedication because that's what we've done so far for the reckless who dare to love and be loved. We start off witnessing Kai taking a sticky bun prepared by Gale to a willow tree on the castle grounds. He has a match with him. He strikes it and says, "Happy birthday, A." Then we begin in the back and forth chase between Kai and Paedyn that pretty much continues the rest of the book. She's gone back to her father's home to gather supplies, and the enforcer is hot on her heels. She hides in the chimney and listens to Kai as he unknowingly admits he misses her. As he leaves, he lights the house on fire. Paedyn kills an Imperial during her escape, and Kai is conflicted on how he feels about her, but takes the Imperial's body to bury because he knows it's what Paedyn would want. Paedyn escapes with a fresh wound on her thigh from Kai and a smirk on her face at the chase. Kai and Kitt have a conversation as enforcer and king. They're both unsure of their feelings for the Silver Savior. She killed their father, yes, but it seems that winning their hearts may have happened first. Tension is high between the brothers, and Kai gives the symbol marking him as the enforcer back to Kitt, his ring, asking for it to be returned when he's earned his trust back. Paedyn has started her journey across the scorches with Kai and his Imperials in pursuit. Paedyn reaches the city of Dor to find a price has been placed on her head in all the cities near and far, and she's forced to kill a guard at the edge of the city. Kai and his soldiers also make it to Dor and are met with some hostility over being elite. Paedyn discovers an underground fighting ring and an opportunity to earn money by fighting as Shadow. Kai has an encounter with Abigail, a little girl he has sent across the scorches rather than kill, and follows her to the fights. He there challenges Shadow to another round. Kitt is doing some chaotic writing in his office at the castle. Lots of ink being used to sort through his feelings as the new king, and he's decided he doesn't want to be the villain. Back to the ring, as Kai has challenged Paedyn, he's decided to go under the name Flame, and Paedyn is Shadow. We see the tension reach a boiling point with a passionate love-hate driven kiss before the match and a deal struck between them, either freedom or willing prisoner, depending on the outcome. During the fight, Paedyn's identity is revealed to the crowd as she loses her scarf, and Kai reveals his own to claim ownership of the Silver Savior as his property. The realization hits Kai that
I like liver savior.
Do what?
I didn't type right, and it says liver savior
Instead
instead
of
of silver.
Yeah.
Liver savior.
The realization hits Kai that he is the one that killed Paedyn's father. Kai reveals that he did not know he was killing her father to Paedyn, and once again we see how cruel the deceased king was. Kai and Paedyn begin the trek back across the scorches on their way home. Lenny, Lena, and Finn show up to rescue Paedyn. Lenny takes them to his house where they all meet his family and gather supplies. They have a safe house for ordinaries and mixes. Lenny decides that they'll take the enforcer to the king to trade his release for Paedyn's freedom and survival. Back at the palace, Kitt gets counsel from Callum on how to be a successful king, while hinting that the contents of a box that he's given him contain the 3 B's for success: bravery, benevolence, and brutality. Now back to Paedyn and Kai. Paedyn and Kai have been taken by Raphael, the ringmaster of the fights. He wants more money. The two manage to escape but end up in tunnels that fill with water. And guess who can't swim? Miss Paedyn. Kai is keeping them both above the rising water level when Paedyn notices a grate and starts uncovering it so they can escape. Kai saves Paedyn at the cost of his own life. But wait, now Paedyn saves Kai. She jumps in and saves him despite not being able to swim, only to be betrayed when Kai shackles her to himself with a chain he grabbed just in case. Oh, did I mention to add to the betrayal Paedyn is feeling? They have kissed passionately when they thought they were both going to die. Now they're back indoor and both need to stay disguised again or be recaptured and killed. Paedyn tells Kai she could have killed him after her escape in Ilya from her father's house, but she doesn't regret not doing it there or when she jumped in and saved him from the water. And now they've begun pretending. We see this continued through the book, but is it really pretending? While they're chained, Kai confides about Ava, his little sister, who was born ill and kept a secret until she passed away. They play their dance for answers game, and Paedyn learns more about Ava. During the dance, Paedyn steps on the top of Kai's feet, and he dances for both of them. She reveals this is how she used to dance with her father until she fell asleep. And Kai says, then we'll do it until you're dreaming of him. The water scene that happens after this, where they go in the lake to bathe, just has confused me now and confused me when we first read it. It's raining, but then they're afraid of getting wet. I don't know, a lot. Anyway, so then Kai and Paedyn start a fire to warm up after they've bathed in the river and made out a little bit. They need a tinder because all the wood around them is wet, so she offers a book that she's taken from her father's house and finally fucking reads it. This bothered me the whole time that she had this book and she wasn't reading it.
And then she was going to use it for kindling?
Yeah, like without reading it. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Kai is smacked in the face by truths he's never faced about healers lying, about ordinaries weakening elite powers. Then it's Paedyn's turn to be speechless when she reads how her mother passed away in childbirth and not even giving birth to her. She was found later by her father on his doorstep, abandoned because she was ordinary. Kai and Paedyn fight off bandits together, and afterward Kai confesses his conflicting feelings about his father and sometimes wishing he would have been the one to kill him. Paedyn realizes there's blood in her hair and she begs Kai to cut it off. He complies. Then the two share a very touching moment where he's using her own thumb to wipe away her tears and kissing each one of them, sharing a tradition he held with his little sister. They reach the field of souls and dance together in the poppies and are definitely no longer pretending. Kai notices the O scar his father carved into Paedyn's chest and changes a lot of his perspective on the murder of the king. She asks Kai to use her name, Paedyn, and they sleep in the poppy field together. They both admit to no longer pretending, and Kai starts undoing Paedyn's chains so she can run, just in time for Imperials to find them. They make it to the castle with the Imperials taking them, and Kitt reveals the contents of the box he's been carrying, and it's a bombshell shocker for Paedyn and Kai. A ring. Paedyn is to marry Kitt and become queen.
Dun, dun, dun.
When he cuts her hair, all I can think of is that Tangled moment. Yes. When he reaches up and just like slices it.
When they're in the field of poppies, I know he's not a vampire, but I can only picture Twilight when they're laying in the field together and he's like shimmering.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Do you think you guys could survive in the desert?
No.
Sorry. Can you? Yes. Now look into my eyes as you ask that question.
Do you think that you could survive in the desert? Or the woods? Do you think you could survive in any natural setting. I've always wanted to do naked and afraid. The hard part to me would be the naked, not the afraid.
I don't want
That's
to be
the part I
naked
don't
in
like.
the wilderness. No,
Okay,
thank
then
you.
go back to my original question. Do you think you could survive the desert?
I'm gonna
I
need
think
some clothes.
yeah, I think I could, but I'm not doing naked and afraid. That's just ridiculous.
I would not do good in the desert. I panic when I get too hot.
Yeah,
it
that's
makes me
fair.
sick to my tummy. I don't like it. So
With like no access to water, even depending on like what you can find. But the desert at night's cool.
I
Yeah.
know. That's what I would freeze to death because I would like pee on my clothes and put it on to cool down, and then it would freeze and I'd die.
are you supposed to do that? Or are
Yes.
you just coming up with that?
I don't know. Did I make it up?
Is this a real survival instinct? Or are you just looking for an opportunity to pee on your clothes?
I saw it on American Dad, so it's got to be true.
It's got to be real.
So you don't think you could survive?
No, absolutely not. I would try, but I'd rather be dropped off in Antarctica or a forest.
See, I don't
But not
know.
a damp forest. Can I be very particular on where I'm trying to survive?
I'm gonna need like a small cabin to be there with a stocked pantry and
AC,
running water. AC
heated.
would be nice, yes.
Especially in the stifling room.
But with that, I feel like we're in a desert right now.
We need our comfort colors.
Yeah.
No, wait, it's just comfort.
Drop me in the Arctic with my comfort sweats, and man, I'll survive.
Those things are no joke. They keep you so
They
warm.
keep you nice and cozy.
You wouldn't need a sleeping bag,
No,
that's for sure.
Link in the summary for comfort sweats.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't think I'd survive. But then again, I feel like I'm a survivor. So if it really came down to it, I would try to survive. I just think the desert is where I have the least chance of surviving in the wild.
I've played video games and I never do well in the desert. I just always.
Is it because you're just like hitting X to pee on your clothes the whole time?
There's a game called Ark Survival, and one of them is in the desert, and I immediately die. Every single time I die.
I
Because-
never did good on Oregon Trail, so
I mean,
Nobody did.
that one's just tragic.
almost
It's
like,
like
that
the
was
last book.
Yeah, it was like the point of the game, I guess. I don't know. Speaking of survival, the whole book, she is doing what she has to do to survive. She even says that specifically. When does that become wrong? At what point is she crossing a line? She's having to kill people to survive. We're rooting for her. Obviously, she's our protagonist. But when does that cross the line?
She calls herself a monster. And then she gets on to Kai about it, and then he's like, no.
You don't get to...
No, I don't think so.
That double standard at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she has become a monster in order to survive?
I mean, I feel like she's doing what she has to do to survive, but at the same time, she's also kind of trying to self-sabotage in a lot of ways of what she's running from, what she's dealing with, at the same time, her grief and just like her anger. So it's kind of like, we got to find a balance.
Maybe I'm thinking of the next book, but also this book is so ready to just like, oh, I'm going to meet Adina and my dad now. I feel like she says that a couple times.
Yeah.
Like she has surrendered to her fate.
I don't think she crosses lines. I think she's just out there trying to survive, and she's being attacked, and the only way she can get away is to do what she's doing. And I think that nobody should be faulted for that.
This is why I believe if the apocalypse happens, I hope I'm just killed in the scenario where it's happening, because people will do whatever it takes to survive. And that's why I asked the question is,
Yeah.
when is when is she crossing a line?
There's just no line to cross at that point. It's all about survival. And it's whoever's perspective that you're reading in a book that you're going to be like, oh, no, it's fine. They can do that. But in real life, it's easy to judge.
Everyone's after you. So it's like, you can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
You are literally on your own.
It's easy to judge. It's hard to put yourself in that situation and not say, oh, I definitely wouldn't have even spared this person. All right. Do we think that Paedyn's going to accept the proposal?
I mean, I would be shocked. Like, as far as, like, if I was Paedyn and in that moment, he just pulls out the ring and he's like, this is the conditions. I either kill you or you're going to marry me and be queen so that we can rule side by side. What? You've been tracking me this entire time for this reason?
After you just put down your walls and confessed your love to the person that you've been fighting, loving the whole time.
That's what I was going to say, is I would say yes and then I'd look over at Kai and be like, yeah, I just said yes to your brother because I'm so mad you put me in this situation. I blame Kai for this, not Kitt.
He did have all the opportunity to not pursue her.
Yes.
He didn't
ample.
have to wait until they were in the
poppy
freaking
field.
poppy fields to let her go.
So my first answer is I'd say yes out of spite, but I wouldn't want to say yes. I think I'd rather die than be married to someone I don't love.
Something that stuck out to me was he goes and meets with the queen who's dying, who's like his stepmom, right? And she tells him that she didn't even like his father to begin with, but then love blossomed and now she's dying because he's not there.
Yeah.
So I think Kitt's going in with a perspective of, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Paedyn and she's betrayed me and stuff, but I know that good could come out of this.
I do think that's a fair point because he does go and talk to her. And with arranged marriages, they talk about that a lot, how they didn't love each other at first because it was arranged. And then they use that as an excuse to do it to their children because they say, even though I didn't love this person at first, I eventually fell in love with them. Close proximity equals that a lot of times. But I do think it's interesting that the mother is starting to die because the king is dead. I know that's a real thing in real life, the broken heart syndrome, where people do sometimes die when they lose the love of their life. I don't know what I was going to say to that. I think that's really sad.
It is sad. I mean, she's already lost a child. She still has a child alive. I feel bad for Kai. I'm sorry. I just do. Like, his mother is still alive. He's still alive. And she's not gonna fight to be there for him.
I feel bad that because Kitt lost his mother so young and he has his stepmom, their relationship has always kind of been a little hard.
Not good.
Yeah, and so in her dying moments and he's like kind of coming to her, his father's gone. So like he's coming to her trying to find those pieces of him that like he needs reassurance, but also building something that he knows she's withering away. She can't be forgiven, but at the same time, like, what relationship can we still have within this short amount of span of time? So I feel bad for her in that sense because she's grieving quite a lot during this entire book after finding out her sickness, I feel like, immediately shows after the king dies. I don't know. I feel bad that, like, he doesn't feel like he has anyone to turn to outside of Kai. Kitt doesn't have anybody to turn to.
But then again, he does. Like, Andy even shows up and is wanting to help. Gale is there to want to pushes everyone away.
Except for Callum. Why doesn't he push Callum away?
Don't know.
Callum is advising him at this point. He's just probably looking at it as, well, I've had to fill my father's role very quickly, more so than even being raised to know you were going to do at one point. So like now I'm relying on the advisors. My friends and family are trying to reach out to me to try and give me any semblance of hope. And I'm over here not throwing a fit, but kind of upset. So I'm just like, I'm done. I want none of your love. I want none of your help.
I will say I did not like Kitt in this book. He really, really pissed me off. He's just like sulking in the castle and writing all the time. And I don't know what he's up to. And I know that you're going to find out in the next book, and it's going to be crazy, but it's just...
He obviously has a plan.
Yeah.
He obviously has a plan.
The ink that's just permanently on him all the time is evidence that he has a plan. And who's he been sending letters to?
I was worried that Lauren was making him to be the worst, like, villain after we fell for him in book one because we loved... like his relationship as friendly as it was with Paedyn and stuff, and his brotherly love for Kai. I was sad to see that the king's death made it kind of change and like his perspective of everything change, and he was just what we thought bloodthirsty for her to be brought to him, only to find out at the end of the book it's to propose. And you're like, okay,
wait, what?
There's more to this story.
Did you guys expect that ending?
No. I didn't expect that, but once it happened, I was like, oh, I think I see where this is going. It wasn't my first original thought until he brought out the box, and I was like, okay, so she's not going to have any choice in this, really.
As soon as it said velvet box was laid on his desk, that's a ring.
Yep.
That's got to be a ring.
Yep.
All right. Do we want Paedyn to accept the proposal?
No.
I don't, because you don't truly love him. Like, it's clear your feelings for Kai.
And your best friend wants you to be with Kai.
And we've said it.
That was sad.
We've said it in previous episodes where we would be the person that would burn the world for the one that we love.
Yeah.
I would also sell the world to be with the one that I want to like that I truly love. The only reason Paedyn would ever accept it is if it would benefit the population, because that's her character.
Right.
But if it was me as her character, prison and being married to someone that I don't love might be my two greatest fears.
She has always been about, I want to make the world better. I want to fight for my people. I want the ordinaries to be able to not be hidden. I want them to have a life. And so this opportunity presented to her, she can save her people.
That's hard because then you feel bad for Kai because you're like, dude, you're just going to be like the other guy. Like
He says he'll do it.
I know.
Makes me angry.
It's awful.
I hate it.
I would rather, if I was in this situation, someone die trying to break me free than stand in the corner and be okay with it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be okay with it.
I don't either.
The next question, bravery, benevolence, brutality. Those are the three foundations that the previous Keen says what makes a good Keen. Do you guys agree?
I've never ever thought about what it takes to make a good king. I'm sorry.
You've never thought about
put
that?
myself in that situation where
Okay,
I'm like,
queen. I have thought about it. I talk to Jordan about this all the time. I'm like, do you think I'd make a good queen if that was
I know
a
I
scenario?
wouldn't make a good queen because I would choose the people I love over my population, and that would be terrible. That's not a good queen or king.
At least you're honest.
I agree with that. And it goes back to the dedication of this book where she says, for the reckless who dare to love and be loved. It is reckless to love. It makes you vulnerable. And I think if you are going to be royalty, you might as well just throw in the towel and not love because it makes you very vulnerable.
That is the most important thing in my life, I think, is love. And it's always been something that I wanted, and I have it, and I will not let it go. So I would never be a good royal. Just if anybody was out there trying to make me a royal, sorry. It's a no.
I just like that it's an interesting way to look at it. Like, you know, the three pillars, basically, of what he's been passed down to know that makes such a great king. And so now he's trying to enact that or use that. I hate saying this again. I'm very interested to see how this plays out in the next book because we know how he uses that.
So Callum kind of hints at brutality can be thought of as him asking Paedyn to be his wife because it's going to ruin his relationship with his brother.
Right.
It's going to ruin a lot of things.
Well, even the people of his kingdom are angry. They want her head basically for killing the king. They don't understand why she did that after the trials that they were a part of.
I don't think that the three pillars, though, are inherently bad because even a really good person in leadership has to have some form of brutality. You can't save everyone, so you have to know when to cut your losses and be brutal. Benevolence, it's kindness, right? Benevolence,
it's goodness.
Like, yeah, which you would need, and you'd need bravery because you got to make some tough decisions. So at first I heard the three words, and then with the knowledge of the next book, I would say that I didn't necessarily agree with them, but just taking them at face value, those are actually, in my opinion, three really good pillars for leadership.
All right. I said, thank God they both finally stopped lying to themselves and each other. That was a long, long time coming in this book. Reading it the first time was just ripping my hair out. Like, please, guys, get over yourselves. Stop it.
How did you feel about that whole scene of her in the chimney? Like at her house when he was still pursuing her?
When I read that the first time, I thought the book was going to go a much different way. I
Right.
thought he was going to accept her immediately. I did not think it was going to be a back and forth. I did not think he was going to be so loyal to getting her back to his enforcer role. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, that whole chase, this entire book, I felt like was like, you guys really need to have a sit-down conversation. I get that it's complicated. You both have now lost fathers to each other in a sense. Like, that is some real hard shit. And we even talk about it in the last episode. Is like, is those grounds for an actual relationship to be recovered? Well, we won't know until you all sit down and talk about it.
I mean, reading the first scene for the first time, I genuinely thought this was going to be a book of them running away and Kitt going mad with like jealous rage, trying to get her back and mad with betrayal from his brother.
Right.
That's what I thought was going to happen. She surprised me.
The back and forth is one reason why I rate this book lower than what it is, and it has nothing to do with the writing. It has everything to do with my frustrations with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
It took too much of this book for them to get where they needed to be. Like, this could have been a novella. Not a true, like, tiny novella, but in a sense it could have been a very shortened down book because I don't think it needed to go back and forth. Yes, I do think that Paedyn needed to fight it out in the pits and
Fight Club
style, yeah. But I also think, like, they could have recognized where they were
much earlier on.
They
could have.
Yeah, like, it's just... It was,
You just start rolling your
hard.
eyes.
Yeah.
I really think had they read that damn book.
The pacing. Oh, my
The
gosh.
journal?
The book.
Yes. They would have been fine. Like, had Paedyn sat down and read that, she would have been, well, man, she might have gone crazy.
Well,
But the revelation of it was huge.
Yeah.
I think the only reason why she was in such denial is because she just lost the only other person she'd ever loved. So she, in her mind, was probably never going to love again. So she wanted him to be the villain. I think that's the only way her thoughts are justified.
Did anybody else waffle between who they were pissed at during the book? Because I did. I was pissed because Paedyn wouldn't stop, and then I was pissed because Kai wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
I wouldn't say it was waffling. It was an equal amount of pissed off at both of them.
Yes, I agree.
I really liked the different uses of powerless that the author introduced through Paedyn and Kai, because at many different times in the book, it was presented how they were powerless in different situations. I don't know. I really thought that was powerful.
Did it make you reckless, though?
This book did make me a little reckless.
She has a lot of good lines in this book. The love scenes or the analogies are chef's kiss in this book, in my opinion. I have quite a few favorite lines.
Kai comes out with some bangers for Paedyn.
Yeah.
And the fact that she didn't just immediately melt and be like, okay, whatever, I forgive you. That shows a lot about how stubborn she was in this book.
Did she want to be forgiven? Because I don't think she truly... I mean, she knew that Kai didn't know the full story. I mean, it took forever for him to even realize that the king had cut into her skin.
It was really weird that she didn't immediately show Kai what the king had done to him. Like, she hid it. I know that that was part of, like, her embarrassment that she really was ordinary and she couldn't do anything and stuff. But the fact that she wasn't just honest with him, even throughout the book where he's continually opening up and being honest to her and she continues to hide that. It was just very odd. Like you were saying, she wanted him to not forgive her.
But I also felt like that was a lot of what they bonded over in the first book, was the fact that they kind of knew the king was evil. He treated Kai like shit. I mean, he tortured him in a sense to become the best enforcer and be a weapon of his own making, but...
Well, not in a sense, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, he took, I don't know how old it said he was, like maybe 12, and dropped him off in the scorches. Like, we were just talking about how we couldn't survive, and he did it to his son, bound him, and dropped him. Like, there was no question about the fact that he tortured him in several different ways, mentally, physically, all over the place.
Not good parenting.
And I don't think that Kai ever wanted his father's approval as much as maybe Kitt tried to be the light in his eyes in a sense. So I loved that even no matter through the torture, like, Kai still had a good heart. He still wanted to save all those people that he was subjugated to kill.
Kind of going back to your waffling between who you're pissed at, I was most pissed at Kitt. It goes back to his just sulking. I don't know. This line really stood out to me. He is gone, and I don't even know how to breathe if he does not command me to do so. Command me to eat, to live. And that's in his conversation with Andy, talking about his dad.
Yeah, I got real pissed at Kitt about how, like, little baby he was being about his dad dying. His shitty father.
Yeah.
Like, shitty dad. He's not really a parent. He's a parent to you, and the fact that you're accepting that and not seeing how much of a non-parent he is to your brother who you're claiming to love is ridiculous. The amount of suffering that your brother went through and you witnessed and chose to ignore it and let it happen pissed me off.
Just the power of brainwashing.
Just to be angry with all three main characters the entire book.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My anger
I guess I didn't waffle either.
Yeah. My anger was evenly distributed. Kai asks Paedyn, why didn't you leave Isla? Like, would you have left? Or Ilya. He asks her, why didn't you leave? So my question to you is, would you have left if you were her
Yeah.
a long time ago?
Yeah.
Peace out.
No, I'm too
I mean,
stubborn.
if I felt like I was just stuck in the scorches because I was trying to book passage, I don't think I would have stayed if it was me, to be honest. I lost my best friend. I've lost my father who helped raise me and meant the world to me. And now there's this tension between me and the person that I gave my heart to, Kai, because I've killed his father and I don't expect him to understand, even though that's basically what they're screaming at each other that they want. It's just like, I would have just left. I would have just started anew somewhere else because the whole kingdom cannot forgive me either. Like, that's what I would be afraid of. It's like, yes, I want to make changes for my people and for the world at large, but do I have that opportunity looking through Pay's lenses? Probably not. My head is on a spike if I come back or if I'm found.
But even before, like just when your dad died, would you have just left? I mean, you are ordinary. You're living in slums. You're stealing everything. You have one person. Would you have just taken Adina and left?
I would have left and then come back with an army.
I might have, but also I'm pretty stubborn in the sense that, like, if you tell me I don't belong, I'm gonna try and belong. Gonna be like, I'm gonna prove you wrong and I'm supposed to be here. And you know what? It's not always worth it to do that.
And the unknown might have been scarier for her than knowing where she lived. She was unaccepted and that she had to live on the edge of her seat. That might have felt more like comfort to her because that's the only thing she knew than to go to the unknown.
Wasn't she like around 13 or something when her father died or was killed?
It was 5 years ago, and I know that Kai is 19.
Yeah, and I think she's like 18.
They're
17 or 18.
They're going through a lot in their teenage years.
All they should have to worry about is puberty, guys, and they are killing people.
A little late.
Did you say a little late?
A little late. At 18 and 19?
No, I meant like she loses her dad at whatever age. And
yes.
lives in the
and
slums
he's the
on
one
her own.
killing the dad.
Yeah.
He killed a person,
At
didn't know who it
14.
was going to be, tortured by his dad at whatever age, hands broken, all that stuff.
But for real.
Any favorite moments or least favorite moments?
I got so mad at the moment where they have their moment while the water's rushing in and they make out and you're like, okay, well, they've accepted that they love each other, right? That's what's going through my head. I'm like, finally. And it's not the end of the book, so I know they're going to live. And then she gets out and then he's drowning, dead at the bottom. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, well, she's going to save him. And she does. And then for him to shackle her, I wanted to punch him in the face. I was so freaking mad at that point. I was like, you're an idiot. You guys should have taken that opportunity and lived happily ever after. Run away right now. There's been enough back and forth. This is it. This is the turning point. Love each other and leave.
It was just pretend.
It was the betrayal that she inevitably knew was coming, but it finally hit at the worst of timing because she finally was like, okay, we might have a chance here. Let me see what our love can rekindle. Nope.
Rough. That was a rough point for me.
I like the part where she notices he's cut on his hip and she realizes, oh, I do really care for him. Even she doesn't say that, but she has concern for his safety.
Yeah.
And she does save him from drowning. So it's so evident to the reader how much they love each other. They keep continuously saving each other.
Oh, I mean, he gets it while fighting the stable hand to get her on the horse. That was another one of my favorite parts is when they're riding through the desert on the horse and she realizes he's asleep and how she can sleep so soundly next to him.
Yeah.
Their bodies even know how relaxed they are with each other. That was cute.
That tension and pull is something I did enjoy that Lauren kind of wove out because through all of the frustrations, I felt like at least that was the reminder that they are tether and pull. It was just magnetic. You could not fight it.
I liked the dialogue. No. I liked the writing of the thoughts of love. I don't know if that makes sense. I didn't like necessarily them speaking to each other. I liked when they're thinking about their thoughts. That is what thinking is. I liked when they were processing their love for each other internally.
You did
the
it.
writing of that. I got there.
You did it.
Yeah.
I just took a roundabout way, but I got there.
The dialogue between them two was kind of frustrating the entire time.
But their internal monologue of the love for each other was good.
That one was better.
You got there for me. Okay, overall rating.
3.
Would you rate Powerless?
3.5 maybe. This one was lower for me.
I thought you liked this more than Powerless.
I know, but then on the reread, I changed my mind.
Who's waffling now? Adriana?
Yeah, this one would be like a 2.5 because I think Powerful was like a 4. I'm sorry, it's not a 3-star in my opinion. There was just too much that I think needed to be ironed out a little bit better. I'm a little crucial on that, and I apologize, but it's just, it was frustrating.
I think maybe if it would have been shorter, I would have liked the story a lot more.
Yeah.
But the length of the back and forth was just so rough on me that's why I give it a lower score.
I agree, because you almost feel like you don't get anywhere throughout the entire time until the very end. And you're like, this could have been condensed to some degree. That's at least a lot of my reasoning behind it.
So I rated Powerless a 3.5. I think maybe by the end of the episode I was at a 3.75. Powerful, a 5-star plus, little plus sign at the end of that. And then for this one, I would probably rate a 3. I would say, though, what really saves me is that internal monologue. I liked the writing of that. It just jumped back and forth too much. They love each other, they don't love each other, pretend, don't pretend.
I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the love lines that Kai brings out and gives to Paedyn as well. Reading those separately, I would think, oh yeah, this will be a 5-star book for me, right? She has very good writing in that sense, but
the characters are frustrating.
Yes.
I enjoyed the ending, though. I thought that was like a big surprise. I thought that was like a setup for, like we were discussing how Pei wants to save her people. This was like the opportunity presenting itself rather than her head on a spike was what she thought she was coming back to.
If I were to rate it on the writing, I would say I'd actually probably give it a 4, but on the story, that's why I give it a 3.
I just didn't want her to always be the pawn that he kind of kept her as, the king himself, and then now what we're afraid of with Kitt because we don't know his true intentions going forward yet. I mean, they haven't really talked it out. Yeah, that was kind of what I was afraid of after seeing the reveal at the end, being like, oh, this is the opportunity you're presented, so like where do we go from here? To me, a lot of second novels are set up. They're a little slower. They're a little because you have the explosive ending coming. So like you've got to like kind of get somewhere. And sometimes I feel like it suffers the second book syndrome. But you came off of such a note with Powerful being the short novella and very powerful in its sense, like impactful. So I thought this one just kind of lagged a little bit too much. So I'm curious to see how we feel about the finale. That took a lot of words for the tiny amount I was trying to say.
I just tried to describe internal monologue and couldn't get there. So, favorite lines. I'll go first since I wrote all of them.
I was going to say, I don't think I even prepared for that.
Favorite line. So, Kai is talking about Paedyn, and he says, "Death is familiar to me, both friend and foe, and far too frequent in my life. But for her, death is devastation, no matter its victim." I liked that for Paedyn because I do think that describes her soul very well. So I liked the way he described that for her.
He understands Paedyn on a deep level.
On a very deep level. She would fail the brutality part if she was in royalty. Next is just when they're in the little fight club that they got going, and he calls himself Flame. And goes, "And where there is a flame, there is always a shadow. She is my inevitable." It's a little cheesy, but I like it.
It is cheesy, but it's cute.
But it was cute.
It's cute.
I kind of want to read the one that I put in all caps that I already forgot, where I said, "Don't forget page 189, 190. Emily, that's your favorite." Oh, it's when they're about to drown, and they're talking, and he says, "Pretend," I whisper against his lips. "I am recklessness incarnate. Until the very end, my mouth meets his. He tastes like longing, like regret and relief, like nothing matters but this moment. It's fervent?" How do I say that word?
Yeah, fervent.
It's fervent, like a sinner's final prayer. And maybe that is what this kiss is, repentance. I thought it was fervent, but that would make the...
Fervent, but it's not spelled that way, is it? Now I'm questioning, because I thought it was spelled a different way. No, I think you're right.
Okay.
Fervent.
Okay. I really liked that line. I grew up like reading the Bible every day basically and going to church. So I think anytime like there's a parallel between, I don't know, worshiping and love and stuff, I just can understand it on not a deeper level, but just understand it better. So when they're described that way, I'm like, oh, that's love. That kiss is repentance.
Oh, maybe it is. I thought fervent was the word. Sorry, I need to know this.
I think it's fervent.
No. I think you do pronounce it fervent. Hold on a second.
Fervent.
Nope.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
How
We
do
know
you
nothing.
spell fervent?
we don't know. Don't test us on vocab. We suck.
2 more. The next one is my heart aches to be reunited with the piece he's stolen from me. And that is love. That's the description of love.
Mm-hmm.
When you decide to love someone, you give them a tiny little piece of your heart or the whole heart or the biggest piece. This is a side note, but Jordan and I always say I love you with my whole butt because your butt is bigger than your heart.
You could
So,
just say body.
I went to a wedding that they used that as their vows.
They said I love you with my whole butt. Were they a fly on the wall to my...
They know.
How do they know?
They're with you.
I saved the best for last. You cannot be nothing when you are everything to someone else. And that, I think, is the best line of the entire book. I won't say the entire series because I think Powerful has some really good ones, but it's up there because that is just so true. And I think everybody needs a reminder of that sometimes when you're thinking that you're failing at work or failing at just home life or failing in general. You sometimes feel like nothing, but that's just not possible when you're an everything to someone. And that's the theme of this. Don't cry.
I'm not crying.
Don't get emotional on me.
I love it. She just has some really deep meanings behind a lot of what she says in these books. And I really enjoyed doing the reread and picking those out for myself.
Yeah, I think she's a great writer. There are some deep lines in there, some deep themes that she has going.
Yes.
And
deep themes is
she's only 23 years old. Zoe
at
pointed
you,
You wrote
Lauren
these pretty
Roberts.
young, didn't
yeah,
you?
yeah. Zoe told me that, and I was shocked. But a lot of writers, I feel like, are the popular ones right now are pretty young.
I think I saw where she was describing that, like, she had this dream all along when she wrote Powerless, and her parents were like, well, you know, you're in college or whatever, like, let's give it a try, but, like, if it doesn't pan out, you need to finish your degree. I can't remember what she said she was going for originally, but it took off on, like, TikTok and everywhere else, and so she just basically was like, I knew it all along. I was meant to write.
And
That's
she was.
cute.
Here she is now, and it's gonna be I can never remember. Is it a TV series or a movie?
I don't remember either.
I
It's
know
one of the
Powerless
two,
is.
yeah.
If you do Powerless, then you have to do the rest of them, right? You would
I
think.
would think.
But
Yeah.
it's
And
got
there-
some rights for either a movie or a script of a TV. I just can't remember. Hold on a second. I need to know this. Fervent.
Are you trying to? You can't decide what it.
Fervent. I think I'm just saying the word wrong.
But I've always heard it said that way.
Fervent. Yeah, that's why I stopped. Also, the whole book, I definitely said the place was called Isla, and there's not an S in there, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
You know what doesn't make a lot of sense? The spelling of the word Isla.
No, you know what
Or
doesn't
Isle.
make a lot of sense is the font in this book.
Fervent.
And if you get the physical copy, it's even harder. Wait, what do you say?
want you to
She
cut
just keeps saying fervent.
Adriana,
Fervent.
Adriana is spiraling. If you're a listener, can you let us know how
No.
you say it? Oh, I'm keeping this in for
No.
sure. She's spiraling.
It's driving me insane.
You know
when
what's-
you think you know something, but then you can't find it. Hold on.
Fervent. Fervent. Is the N silent? Is the T silent? Fervent.
I'm pretty sure it's fervent.
Hold the
That's
phone
how-
up closer to the mic.
What's up, dog?
You're live.
You're live on the
air.
pod.
We need your help.
We need your help. We can't pronounce a word.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Sure.
The word is spelt Fervent.
Fervent. Come
She's
on,
saying
girls.
fervent.
Yeah, she's saying fervent.
Okay, but we thought it was fervent.
How do you
No,
spell fervent?
Don't quit your day jobs.
Oh, okay,
All right.
Mama.
Does
Sorry.
it make the same? Does it mean the same?
No.
As
Fervent.
what? There's no fervent. I've never heard of fervent. in my
Okay,
life.
so Adriana and I just made up the word
No,
fervent.
I thought
and
it was fervent too.
and it's fervent.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Passion. With passion.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, is that what fervent means, is with passion?
Mhm.
Yes.
I thought she was saying just keep going with passion.
No.
Be
No.
fervent,
No,
not fervent.
no, she's not being positive. She told us to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said don't quit your day jobs, just
That's
like one of
fine.
our listeners has
won't.
said.
I won't.
Now that we're done spiraling, did we already ask, are there any last minute thoughts?
Nope. We haven't
I'm
wrapped it
done.
up
I
or
want to be
anything.
done. I want to walk out of here and never remember this again.
I've never seen you spiral so hard.
I'm upset.
Are you going to be able to wrap this up?
Yeah, it's fine.
We need to leave.
Or be glad you're watching this from the safety of your household or wherever you're at.
Now, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Next episode, we will be doing part 1 of Fearless. And be sure to check us out on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Tune in every Friday for a new episode of
Book Thoughts.
You said that with such a fervent tone.
Oh, she's calling.
Who is she calling? Is she calling the dictionary police?
I have a question. I need you to save me from my own mind. I thought fervent was a word. Or fervent. No, fervent's what we found out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fervent is the one we thought it was, and it's fervent.
This will be a deleted scene.
Am I just... Yeah, is that not a word? I don't know. That's the problem. So I guess it's not. I need a dictionary.
Who are you talking to?
My husband. Fervent. But that's what we just found.
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my
Well-
Passionate.
One last look to the camera.